I'm here to talk to you about mediation and what we do at divorce mediation centers, but I want to tell you a story about a case that didn't go to mediation. Well, actually, it did go to mediation, but after lawyers were hired and the fight was on. This couple, they weren't wealthy by any means, but they had a considerable amount of property. The quote-unquote community estate was relatively sizable. They had 7 or 8 rent homes as well as the house they lived in. They have 4 children. They're still living and they still have children. This case went on for over 3 years. Each parent, each spouse spent over $100,000 each. They had spent that much money. There was a trial. The judge decided the case. It took them 3 or 4 months just to get a divorce decree signed by the judge because the lawyers couldn't even agree to what the divorce decree was supposed to say. Then one of the parties, and I won't go into too much detail because I don't want to give away private personal information, but one of the parties decided that the result was just not the right result and appealed, filed what we call a motion for new trial. Now we're at least 30 days after the day the judge granted the divorce. The motion for new trial gets filed, but they're still not divorced because 2 months later, the judge, well, legally they were divorced, but I don't want to get into all that detail. Just suffice it to say, she granted the motion for new trial, and that meant they had to start all over again. And they are still in that process, I believe. I kind of burned out after 3 years. I will tell you, even lawyers can only take so much of this, but that's what litigation is like. And you may think yours isn't going to be that way, but it's amazing what families are willing to do to help their family member go through divorce. This couple had borrowed from friends, borrowed from parents, borrowed against the houses that they owned. They were pretty much tapped out financially by the time it was all over. So all that stuff they had going in, neither one of them had. They'd used it all just to go through the process. And it's easy for that to happen. You're paying a lawyer by the hour, and it costs a lot. It costs a lot to go through that process, and you don't always have control over it. Sometimes the other side is really mad, and they're going to do everything they can so that you don't get anything. That happens a lot. So that's why I do mediation. I just couldn't do that anymore.